Gentlemen, I cannot believe yet another twist to this extraordinary weekend of events so far.
Quite impossible to believe, isn't it? We've been talking from the top of the show that Russell Ingall would start from position number 1. Now, we thought that would happen because Ingall finished last, but in fact, Cameron McLean finished last. The lowest placed finisher gets pole position. Cameron McLean completed 1 lap less than Russell Ingall. It is one of the weirdest grids you will see all season simply because of the fact that it's a reverse grid. McLean will start from 1, Ingall now 2, Bargwanna and Jason Richards on row 2. Then it will be Morris, Rodney Forbes, Anthony Tratt and John Faulkner.
Should be a fascinating first corner. Tony Longhurst, Mark Larkham in there too. Simon Wills, Stephen Ellery in 16. Brad Jones and Jason Bright. Craig Baird and Glenn Seaton will start out of 16.
Now this is where we'll start to see the big names down the back of the field, from Wheel to Crompton to Bow to Johnson. Position 21 belongs to Craig Lowndes. 22 is Radicic. 23 Tanner and Perkins in 24. Mark Scaife still not on this list. Bernard, Ambrose, Kelly and Richards.
Mark Scaife, there he is, starting out of 29. Max Wilson alongside the Brazilian. Greg Murphy, Cameron McConville, Rick Kelly off the back. Wayne Wakefield. Those last 4 cars, of course, or last 5 cars, did not finish race 1, so they start right off the back. It's the ultimate penalty for not finishing this race. As Matthew White said earlier on, the key to winning this one is just staying out of trouble. You have to be consistent. Let's check it out on the Ford race analysis. The Steg Bar Canberra 400 capacity field of 34 cars, 25 laps the distance as it was yesterday, 100 kilometres. Pit window opens lap 2, closes lap 17 for the compulsory tyre stop. Of course, the reigning champ is Stephen Johnson. He's not going as well in 2002 as he did 12 months before.
It could get ugly. We've got rain forecast. Menacing clouds are overhead, and we've got a reverse grid for race 2 of round 5 of the V8 Supercar Championship. Let's get back to business with a back-to-front start. McLean and Ingall. Ingall in car number 8 almost gets it sideways off the start. The bottleneck towards turn 1. Who gets through? Ingall, the enforcer, through cleanly. So too McLean. Richards, no troubles there. But what about the back of the pack? They'll be easing off and making sure that there's no dramas.
Has to be a level of cooperation amongst the drivers there through that first turn. It is a real funnel. Everyone gets right down to first gear. Some guys even put the clutch in and just wait for the traffic to flow through. That's the only way you can survive that first turn, particularly in a reverse grid situation. Shoot down toward Holden turn for the first time. Russell Ingall in command from Cameron McLean as they head up Kings Avenue for the first of 25 times. Pit strategy is going to be a big factor here. These fast guys, very hard to pass on this circuit. They may pick up a few positions, but they're really going to be relying on their crews to give them a big leapfrog effect when they come in to change tyres.
Bit of a lock-up from car number 600, Simon Wills in the Cat Ford. The pit window opens at lap 2 and closes at lap 17.
See one of the Castrol Commodores there, might have been Larry Perkins, just brushing the wall on the exit into State Circle. They sweep down under Commonwealth Avenue. It's a big field of V8s, 34 cars in all, and it looks like a relatively clean start to this reverse grid race.
Garth Tander goes through, and 2 of the Castrol Commodores side by side as they come through VB corner and attack Flynn Drive. Back down to first gear when they come through this part here, Canberra Complex. Ingall leads them through. Bargwanna has moved up a position on Cameron McLean. Rodney Forbes, Anthony Tratt, Ellery's in there. There goes Bradley Jones, John Bow, his teammate. He's leading a train of the 2 Shell Helix Ford Falcons. Scaife is still down the rear. No moves from the 4-time series champion yet.
You do really get locked in there. There's Wayne Wakefield in the last position as they sweep under Commonwealth Avenue through the Ford sweeper up toward pit straight for the first time. Oh, there might be trouble here for one of the Kmart Commodores. Pulling off to the side as they come up towards State Circle. I'm not sure which car that is, whether it's Kelly or Murphy. I think it's Murphy.
I think it was Greg Murphy.
Yep. So Murphy had a shocker. There's Todd Kelly, so it must be Murphy.
Yep. He's right at the back of that list there. You can see him just at the top of your screen. Greg Murphy slowing down again.
Well, he had problems yesterday with an alternator and the car pulled out right at this part of the circuit. Now he's got to try and limp it back. You can hear the team manager, Rob Crawford, talking to him on the headsets, but that's a rotten bit of luck for Greg Murphy. And we hear that the Rick Kelly car has also got smoke pouring from it. There may be problems for both cars as the pit window opens and cars are already coming into pit lane for a tyre change.
Comment by Rob Crawford, the team boss at Kmart Racing. He's been on the radio to Greg to tell him to slow down. They're going to try and complete the stop for Todd Kelly. let Kelly get out before Murphy comes in. The word is that Murphy has a drive shaft problem or a major vibration of some sort in the drive line.
Well, you can see Murph shaking his head as the car limped down Flynn Drive. He cannot believe the amount of bad luck he's got in this race. Oh, problems here for Paul Radicic. Big damage on the Shell 18 Falcon. Goodness me. That wheel is just stuck there. Oh, and there's also been some damage further back for Craig Lowndes. Bit of panel beating work going on in the pit lane now. Looks like he's gone underneath someone. And look at the damage there. It's always a risk in this reverse grid situation. It looks like the car running okay. Here's the Holden Racing team. Oh, look at this. We've got this thing on fire now. So much heat going in there that he's actually got a fire burning under the tyre.
And this happened to Paul Radicic. I mean, he had this problem right at the very start of the lap, so he's had to try and get 3.9 kilometres around the circuit with that big problem. This is exactly what happened, so...
Oof. Oh, he's gone right up. Well, Stephen Johnson...
That's at turn 13.
Stephen Johnson's gone into the back of Radicic, so he's also sporting some damage as well.
Stephen Johnson went in the back of his teammate.
Yep. So both Shell Fords damaged, but this one looks like it's come off far worse. Look at the sparks flying there. Broken suspension components being ground down against the surface of the bitumen. And there's that wheel. Look at that alloy rim there, just getting destroyed as he tries to limp it back to pit lane. Dramatic moment for the Shell team. And just amazing how the fortunes have turned around. Stephen Johnson was dominant on this track only 12 months ago. A very different story in 2000.
Oh, Rodney Forbes is into the tyres there, and he caught up. I think Seaton was caught up slightly, but certainly Ellery and Wills were absolutely trapped in that damage. There's a safety car on the circuit, and I think the opinion poll would read almost 100% against reverse grid races just at this moment. Maybe they'll cool down later, but here we go, and the carnage is right. The casualty list is long.
Oh, that was a clanger, wasn't it? Smack, bang, crash at turn 10. And one of the biggest victims out of the whole lot of that mess was Glenn Seaton. The Ford has been parked. After this, just take a look at this. He brought it back, limped all the way back into pit lane. And by the time they got it up on the jacks, they came to the conclusion that there's too much damage on that thing. They'll get it in there and try and fix it for race 3. And one of the other victims out of all that mess on turn 10 was Stephen Ellery in the Super Cheap Auto Ford. We've seen how many problems he's had across the weekend, even before we got into race 1 yesterday. Some great advice for Stephen Ellery, a bit weird from his team manager while he was sitting there in pit lane with the car up. Next time you see smoke, Stephen, aim for the smoke. Don't drive into it, because once you get in the middle of it, that's where the trouble is. Greg Murphy joins us up here in the commentary box. I'm sure it's not the best seat in the world for a driver, but Murph, I don't even know where to start for your weekend. Maybe the highway on the way home.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going home. Canberra has just never been... I won the first race ever here, and that was a highlight, and then ever since there, it's just been terrible. I actually was enjoying myself today, this weekend too. Last year we had a bit of a struggle, but this year I've actually been enjoying myself, and the car hasn't been liking what's going on. It's failed twice.
Yeah, I'm at Crompton's pit. They're having a bit of trouble there on the left-hand side. Just a bit of panel beating going on. Apparently Neil went out on some really old tyres, and the plan was to bring them in really early and get some good rubber on, but he got involved in a bit of a straight on or something. I didn't actually see it. And all they're doing now, they're going to whack a new nose on it by the looks of it. It's hang on a minute, maybe they're not. No, change their mind. It was going to be a nose job, but now it's not.
Everything's so straightforward in Canberra, Baz, isn't it?
Oh no, God! As you were going to say, I don't think top of the popularity poll is not going to be the reverse grid, is it? Yeah. So all Rodney Forbes come of that.
What do you think about reverse grid racing, Murph? Certainly the purists would say it's ridiculous. It's not speedway. What's your opinion on it?
Well, from what I've seen, actually, I mean, it looks to me that a lot of the leaders or winners of yesterday haven't really been involved in anything. It's been other cars. I mean, I haven't been a huge fan of it, but it has been an exciting thing for the fans. And so far, we've seen a lot of carnage today in this race. Scapey's making a move. Is that... Oh, Scapey comes Besnard too.
Well, he's a long way down in the order at the moment. Scapey's in 17th place, so he's got a lot of track to try and make up. He's lost whatever advantage there may have been in leapfrogging the field through his pit stops, and now he's got to fight position to position.
I think he's, he's got a lot more to lose than gain. You know, it's really not a priority. I'm sure the team's just said, you know, mate, you're so far ahead. I mean, he didn't even have to try yesterday, and they still won the race. So, you know, I'm sure he's just taking it easy, finished the weekend, you know.
Crew Chief Robbie Starmurph has actually been on the radio to him and just saying, look, just maintain your position, be patient, there's a long way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, after this race is finished and the points add up, you know, he's going to be somewhere near the front, and then he's got a good run in the 50 lapper, and you know how consistent those cars are. So
when you think about it, that was probably one of the easiest races that Mark Skaife has ever won. I mean, all he did was just keep the car straight.
Well, he must have just been laughing his head off. I would have been if it was me.
Look at this.
Up on the inside of Max Wilson.
Yeah, gets him again. So Skaife masterfully guiding his way through this slower traffic, picking up positions as he goes. He's one of the few remaining cars out on the field that doesn't have any sort of battle damage. But remember back in the early 80s, Murph, when Peter Brock earned that nickname Peter Perfect, there was a period there where no matter how hard he tried, he could not lose a race. And Mark Skaife is now in that situation. It's amazing. People just keep serving it up to him on a plate.
Well, that's what I was doing yesterday. We just handed it over to him. What do we got?
I think we've got Paul Wheel, car number 43. He's lost the front spoiler there. I think that's a brand new one they only just chucked on at the start of the race. I'm certain it is. Paul Wheel yesterday finished in 13th position, and he completed the last, into the wall.
There was a car, obviously, that he didn't see that. I think it's John Faulkner. He didn't see him, and whoever was in front of him there moved over, and Wheelie was there. That's Brad Jones. Yeah.
Paul, what happened there?
I was just coming down into the first chicane down the back, and I got a good run out on of the corner on Brad, and I come down the right-hand side of him, and I was up to his door, and obviously he didn't look in his mirrors as usual, and put you straight in the wall. You know, you can't drive around here like that. You know, the guy put someone in the wall before it caused a safety car. Now he goes and puts another car in the wall. He should be looking in his mirrors and you know, having to think about what he's doing.
Okay, thanks a lot, Paul.
Thanks, mate.
I was just going to say the Wheel finished yesterday's race. The last couple of laps with a flat tyre, it was going down. He had a problem with the valve, and he managed to limp home in 13th position and not get anyone past him on the way home. So a good job from Paul Wheel, but as you can see, very disappointed with the actions of those around him in race 2, lap 13 and 25. Russell Ingall is our race leader in car number 8. Jason Bright will be second after Cameron McLean pits. Jason Bargwanna, Paul Morris and Jason Richards will be following.
Bargwanna went flying across the grass at the flip-flop section there when we were in that interview with Paul Wheel.
That's a big curb there too, Mark. I'm surprised he's still going. I would have thought they would have ripped the suspension or ripped the front spoiler off, because that is a big curve. Here we go. Who's he? Oh, he's got. He is. How lucky was he?
Whoa! And then crunch.
Oh, that was a big save. It looked like he was actually. It looked like he actually he had to jump on the brakes too early, because who was in front of him? Jason Bright. So that was unusual.
Taking evasive action. We're back on board with Mark Skaife. He's back in 16th spot now. His next victim, Stephen Johnson. Just up ahead of him on the road. You can see this queue here.
Train, isn't it? Now?
Very, very hard to pass. There's Johnson, 17. There's Skaife. Right in behind the Shell Ford. So any advantage they may have been looking for from the pit stop has already been used up. And Skaife now, he's going to make up positions. He's got to do it car by car. He's already effectively taken a few cars. Now he's trying to get past Johnson. Look at the attitude on that car as he bounces out of the flip-flop section across the Canberra of the road. This really is threading the needle.
The rain has held off, but it hasn't stopped.
11 laps to go.
So many cars finding the concrete canyon that lines this 4-kilometre circuit. Stephen Johnson, the only survivor out of the Shell Helix racing team, involved in a little bit of a mishap with his teammate Paul Radicic. Car number 18 is in being fixed for race 3. Quite a few cars are in being fixed for race 3 as we go on board with Stephen Johnson, the defending champion here on this circuit. And he's got Mark Skaife lights on.
Got to say, Murph, they've just looking at the body language of that Skaife car throughout practice and qualifying, they've got that car riding the bumps exceptionally well. It just seems to glide across like it's on air.
Well, you've nailed it there, Mark. I mean, that's what it's all about around here. You've got to be able to get across those curbs, because curbs are everything. As he has a go at Steve, he's covering, so you can see Steve over to the right, which is obviously not the line, but he knows Skaife is going to have a look up the inside, so he's covered well. It rides over the curbs. It's so compliant. you just put the foot on the throttle and away it goes. But just looking at the board, Steve Richards has actually made up a few more spots. I mean, he's up in 10th with Todd Kelly right behind him. Those two guys have done a really good job because they only started just ahead of Scafie, and they've made up a few more spots. So they're flying along. That's going to be some good points for them, and it'll be interesting to see who actually comes out on top for the start of race 3.
Talk about doing a good job. These guys have done a sensational job. 4th outright. They've already made their compulsory stop. They were smart enough to come in when Ingle came in and get out. And they got some good track position. Now he finds himself in 4th position. So Jason Richards really taking advantage of the reverse grid format. The pit crew working well. And now he's got himself a very strong place for the All Blacks.
Yeah, his best race finish in the championship is 4th at Pukekohe last year for Jason Richards. Had 26th in race 1, so he's making a good fist of it here. Here's Russell Ingall out in front in the Castrol Perkins race team.
Stephen Johnson holding in Mark Scaife. You can see some damage to the front of the #1 Commodore now. We thought he might have got through unscathed, but that looks like he's had a bit of a biff in the back of the shell car. Let's have a look at the Nintendo replay, and this might tell us the story as to just what happened to Mark Scaife.
It's coming down into the last chicane before we come onto the...
Boop.
Whoa.
And it was just a hit up the back
It's
of the...
letting him know that he's there. Not that he already didn't know.
No.
And again, I think.
And
yep.
again.
Hello.
So it's looking out the back of the #17 car, Stephen Johnson, and this battle's been going on for lap after lap.
Another bonnet bites the dust.
Yeah, and he's making that car exceptionally wide. So the order at the moment, Ingle, Bright, Jason Richards now moves up to 3rd as a result of McLean coming in, so that's even better for the All Blacks. John Faulkner, Tony Longhurst, Marcus Ambrose, Tander. This is the battle for 14th position. Johnson's in 14th, Scaife's in 15th. Bernard, Wilson and Perkins behind them. So there's a real gaggle of cars. You just imagine the steam coming out of Scafie's ears right now.
He hasn't had steam coming out many times this year, so that's what it's like for the rest of us.
Hey, not to take anything away from the drivers, but probably the hardest working guys around here for this weekend and throughout at the end of this race will be those TAF smash repairs guys.
You're not wrong there. They'll be pretty busy after this race as well.
Yeah, the TAFE Smash repair team, they've got a brand new bus and they've all fixed it up, and it's certainly looking a treat. They do fantastic work rebuilding these cars, and you can see the damage that they've got on them. Mark Scaife's going to get out of this one with hardly any damage compared to most of the other guys that are either sitting alongside us or walking up and down pit lane wondering what might have been. 18 of 25. Stephen Johnson holds off the challenge from Scaife, and Bernard's behind waiting to pounce as he gets some smoke coming out of the Caltex Haviline Ford.
This is race 2 of 3 in the Stegmar Canberra 400, and Mark Scaife, one of the most frustrated drivers out there at the moment. He's having a go at Stephen Johnson here after lap of frustration. He's finally through, and there you can see Junior disappearing behind him.
He took the long way, Bill.
Oh. It was a case of power and passion, I think.
Couldn't get underneath him, so I'll go around the outside instead. So that was a pretty good move.
This is either further back in the top 20, and Max Wilson running 16th, Lowndes in 17th.
Ooh, Lowndes having a real look up every inside he can possibly think of here.
It's good to see Max at least having a reasonably consistent race. He's had a terrible start to the championship. Always fast in qualifying.
Yeah, all the wheels are still on at this time, aren't they?
He's never managed to get it together in a race, but now he's actually getting some serious race miles in the heat of competition.
I think this might get interesting in a minute too.
Yeah, Lowndes is getting pretty hot under the collar as well. There's been a few stabs up the inside of the Better Electrical Ford. You can see the damage on Lowndes' car from an earlier incident.
He's made up 14 positions since the start. He started way back in, alongside Mark Scaife, in fact, in position number 30. So Max Wilson, has gone wide, and Lowndes goes straight through.
Couldn't have been easier.
Well, plenty of pressure out there. These first 2 races are effectively qualifying events for the 50-lapper because the grid is determined on an aggregate of your results from races 1 and 2. And the final race, the 50-lapper, carries 240 points. It's a massive championship haul. So you really have to survive this to be well placed for that final last race.
Yeah, the points structure is a bit of a worry. You know, I think it can really just spread the field even more. It has the potential to just spread the field out. If Scaife has a good run here, which he is, he's going to be on pole with the points the way it is. You know, he gets another 240 points. Geez, I mean, everyone's just fighting for second place. You know, so we really do need to look at it because it's just not working.
Well, the sad thing is about it, you take Mark Scape out of the equation, the battle for the championship is a ripper. Coming into this round, there was only 179 points covering second to 8th.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's only the one car and the one driver that's really obliterated the championship.
That's right, Mark. I mean, the HRT are just doing a stunning job. Look at Jason Richards, caught up to Jason Bride.
He's flying,
and he's hounding him.
Yeah,
He could be second here.
Fantastic effort by the Kiwis. Second season in V8 Supercar competition.
And Bridie's splits are about 0.6, 0.7 a second slower, that split was, to Jason Richards. So he might have some sort of problem there, but Jason's doing a great job regardless.
There's quite a few team managers in pit lane have raps on Jason Richards, the young Kiwi. Certainly be interesting to see him in one of the conventionally or normally front-running cars. Let's have a look at the Nintendo replay. Let's further back. Scaife.
Behind Lark. Oh, he's right in the back.
Oof. Look how quickly he's caught up to Larkham. There was like 3 or 4 car lengths between them.
Yeah.
And he's right on his hammer when they come.
Seems a bit unnecessary, really, that he needs to be pushing quite that hard. But anyway.
Just taking a look at some of the big movers when we had that race score up. Ambrose has gone up 20 spots. Stephen Richards up 19. Scaife up 16. Wilson up 13. The biggest dropper still out there. Paul Morris down 19.
Marcus Ambrose has done a good job. He would be pretty handily placed on the grid for the 50-lapper because he's, in both races, managed to claw his way back for miles down the field up to a competitive situation.
I reckon Marcus is actually in a bit of tyre trouble, to tell the truth. I think he's having a bit of a struggle. Tand is sort of putting a bit of pressure on, and his lap times are comparatively pretty slow too. So.
Well, the only guy running in the 146.2, Ingall's been consistently in the 46s. Lowndes just punched out a high 45 before, so he's really getting some speed out of the 00 Motorsport Ford, but he's a long way down the order still. He's in 16th place.
And traffic obviously plays a huge part around here. Yeah. If you're fighting with someone and they cover a couple of corners to stop you from passing, and it drops the lap time by over a second. It's one of those places where you really want your car to be working well. If it's not working well, this place is a nightmare.
Yeah. So it's Team Brock, Craig Baird at the wheel of the consistently improving car. Very early days for Team Brock.
Beto's a good driver too. He's going to, you know, if he can get that thing going better and faster, you know, he's a man to really work that car.
I just think, I mean, this category now has become so much an engineer's formula as much as a racing driver's formula.
Yeah, it's a package.
The fact that they've got Ronnie Harrott working there is gives you great cause for optimism, because let's not forget it was Ron Harrop who came on board at HRT when they were all at sea and really started them heading in the right direction. He's certainly a man who knows his stuff.
Ronnie knows his stuff, there's no doubt about that, and he'll be a big asset to the team.
Behind these guys, this battle rages on between Mark Larkham and Mark Scaife. Under brakes, Scaife has been all over the back of the Orcon Racing Ford. Down the straight line, Larkham has at least started to pull away. There they go there to start the last lap.
Well, there's been plenty of bumping and grinding, not least from our championship leader, Mark Scaife. Just an indication of how tough it is out there.
I think he might have just decided to sort of back off a little bit. He's pretty cruisy around that corner there. It's the last lap. There's no need to push anymore. He's going to be on pole for the final. He's got 100 points versus, I don't know who's going to be second, but it's going to be pretty tight actually. There's a lot of guys in 80 points. There's some 80 odd points. Might be Stephen Richards.
At the moment, it'll be Stephen Richards if they remain as they are, and Russell Ingall's going to benefit greatly. He'll be alongside probably Jason Bright on the second row of the grid.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Russell starts, he finishes nearly last, and he gets 5 points from yesterday's race, and he's going to be on the second row of the grid, whereas Todd Kelly finishes third yesterday, finishes a great 10th today, and he's going to be behind him. How does that work?
Here's Russell.
Unfortunately, them's the rules.
Okay. Do I get any points? Please?
Russell Ingall, race leader, and he's miles out in front. 11 seconds lead over Jason Bright. So he took advantage of that clear track. He pitted early. Crew turned him around in very quick time. and he's taken maximum advantage of that great grid boost he got as a result of the reverse grid situation.
Jason Bright is a long way behind. Just gives you an idea of how much fun Russell Ingall's had out the front when there's been no problems. And the reverse grid rewards Russell Ingall. He returns to the winner's podium for the first time since Winton last year. Ingall gets a race win.
Doesn't matter how they come. It's always
the
nice.
last time's been really good too. Right. You're basically the quickest guy out there all the time.
And a great performance too from Jason Richards. Bright second, Jason Richards third, John Faulkner in fourth, Longhurst in fifth, Marcus Ambrose. An amazing performance to come up to sixth position. That's up 20 from where he started.
Down through Holden Turn. The Red Army are down there. But any Holden victory is something they'll cheer about. Russell Ingall, boy, it's been a long time since he took victory. Last at Winton, the last time he ran around, it was last year, so almost 12 months out of the winner's circle. Ingall takes the victory, 13 seconds up the road from Jason Bright. Jason Richards, outstanding performance by Team Kiwi. The All Blacks will be thrilled with that one. John Faulkner did equally well. Great job by JF. Tony Longhurst, Marcus Ambrose, Garth Tander and Jason Bargwana.
Ambrose and Stephen Richards were absolutely awesome making their way through all that traffic. Todd Kelly also went up 17 positions. Skate there in 13th. He will have pole position for race 3. Max Wilson finishes in 17th after gaining 13 places. And Cameron McLean, who started on pole position, ends up in position number 22. So 240 more points on offer for the winner of race 3. That's coming up.